What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Dad Spective Show. Hawk, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. It's a hot one out there today.
Yeah,
Summer is here, and I don't know about you, but I'm loving the heat, man. It's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. If anybody's complaining about the heat, they probably don't remember what winter was like. But I'm loving the weather, especially my father-in-law has a pool just a couple doors down, so that works out well.
Yeah. I find like the people that will sometimes complain that it's too hot are the same people that will complain that it's too cold in the winter too, right?
Oh, 100%. You know that's true. Um, Again, we talk about perspective all the time, right? You complain about one little thing, then you kind of know, like, if they complain about this little thing, they probably complain about a lot of little things, right?
Yeah. Like people who complain usually complain about anything that they could complain about. And then people that are always looking for the positive and everything, like you can throw them the worst situation ever and they won't complain about it. They will just look at the bright side of that situation, right?
Yeah, for sure. How I see it too is like I'm pretty chill nowadays, and because I don't want to waste energy on some things. Like if I could just brush it off, I will. That's kind of how I see complaining about tiny things that don't really matter. I think I used this example before, but I was working at a gym, and one of the change rooms was closed for renovations, right? So for good reason. And all they had to do is go into the family change room instead of their own change room. And they were complaining about that. Like people were complaining about that. But some people are like, oh, that's fine. And then some people are like, oh, it just ruined their day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't have like something like that where you just have to move an extra 10 feet or just a different change room. It's no big deal. I don't think. I get it. Some people think it's a big deal, but you
And
shouldn't
like
let
you
it dictate
said,
your day for sure.
that little speed bump or hump in the road there during that day is what throws them off track. And then they're probably like negative and upset for the rest of the day because they let that little thing sidetrack them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely perspective, and I think sometimes we definitely lose track, and who knows what their day was like, but you can turn it all around just by the way you think, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Just taking those negative situations and always, like we just said, looking at the bright side and looking at the positive. Like it could be worse. The gym could be closed and you couldn't even be working out at all, right? So what? You have to go change in a different change room? No big deal. Get changed and move on with your day. Get your workout in, and you're good to go.
Definitely. So what's new with you?
Not much, man. Just was crazy busy with work, but still trying to get some biking and running in. Um, and then a little bit of like working out stuff, but mainly just like if I get like that free half an hour to hour in a day, I'll go for a bike ride or go for a quick run, and then that's that. Yeah, just really busy with work. Not really been able to do too much else, but still just trying to get the family stuff in and the fitness in. What about you?
uh Not too much, just plugging away at work, also lots of work also, but still getting some stuff done around the house and hanging out with family. um yeah, it's always an interesting battle trying to have a balance of life and work and everything you want to do, right?
Yeah, yeah, trying to focus your energy on where you can when you can it, and like for me, if like work is taking up so much time and you only got a little time for family time or a little time for workout time, then you're present in that moment and you just put all your energy towards that, and that's what you're doing at that time.
Yeah,
So yeah, just making the most of the situation, right?
yeah. um just I want to talk about something that we talked about our last podcast there, and I won't go too deep into this, guys, and I apologize if you don't really want to hear about this stuff, but uh last time we talked about the Black Lives Matter and racism and stuff like that. And I just want to talk about a little situation that happened to me. Not bad. I had a good friend actually reach out to me to apologize. This is out of nowhere. It's kind of, it's good on him to say it. He didn't really have to say it. he sent me a message saying apologizing for joking around about. Uh, he said a lot of Asian jokes back in the day, and one time I approached them like a couple times, saying, "Okay, that's a little much, right? Can you stop doing that?" And he's like, "Oh, whatever. It's a joke. It's a joke." And I started thinking about it. He apologized and all that stuff. I told him it's all good, and it is all good. It's all fine. What I found interesting when I was just thinking about him apologizing and all that stuff and how I was back in the day is that like people would joke so much, like just make jokes so much that I would just brush it off. And I don't think that helps the full picture, right? It's like you don't give any. If you just put a band-aid over it or pretend it doesn't exist, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? So how I should have approached it, which I did try to do a couple times, but because people don't, because how society is, you don't want to look like a bitch, basically, right? I kind of brushed it off, and that was my bad on my end, right? So I'm like, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. So the times I did bring it up to him, he does remember that. But anyways, I think the best way to do it is to give power to it. So talk to the person about it, saying it's not right, or tell them, this is not, I don't like what you're saying or whatever. So you give power to it to take the power away from it, not just say, oh, brush it off and pretend nothing happens. What do you think?
I've been hearing a lot about like around that topic, like not just like what you're saying, but in the topic of where if you're in a group of people or maybe you're at like a family event or something like that, and someone cracks a joke, whether it's about Asians or whether it's about black people or whatever, some sort of racist joke where you might not laugh at it, but you sit there just silent and you don't say anything. And in your head, you don't agree with it, but you also didn't say anything to not agree with it. And like you said, like you don't want to seem like that person that's trying to be the fun ruiner or anything like that. So like maybe at a family event, you don't say anything because you don't want your family to get upset with you for saying something like that. But I think now with everything that's been brought to light, a lot of people are now realizing that not saying anything is much more worse than being like, hey grandpa, like that's not funny. You can't say things like that. We're in a different time.
Yeah.
Or if it's like your buddy making fun of you or making like not making fun of you, but making a joke, maybe like, hey dude, like I get it. I know there's no like harm coming from you for what you're trying to say, but I think like jokes like that just need to be cut out now. Like it's not like, and then like maybe even educate them too, right? And just be like, that is sort of like part of the problem. Like I know you don't mean it, but other people will say the same thing and they actually do mean what they're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a big thing. It's like don't feel like you're being like the fun ruiner or the little bitch in the group. Like speak up, because that's what this whole movement is about. It's about speaking up, and speaking up in those instances are the real change that needs to be made.
Yeah, you make really good points there. And like I said, this was like how many years ago now? Maybe like 12 years ago. So even in that time, it was a little bit different. Um, Nowadays, you got to obviously adapt with the times, right? Now that we have a lot of people trying to make a change, I feel like okay, now we're putting some power to fight back at it, right? Like I said back then, if you said too much, oh, that like you almost feel like I said, like a bitch
Yeah,
saying anything about it,
yeah.
right? Because oh, calm down, it's just a joke or whatever, right? So, anyways, I thought it was huge on him to say something. Um, Still friends with them, so we're
I
all
mean,
good.
I mean, maybe with this whole movement, he realized that what he was doing wasn't cool, and
Yeah,
because like, and he never had realized it before, because like I said, like if you guys were friends with each other, he obviously didn't have any hate towards Asians or anything like that.
of
This
course.
is something that he thought was funny and was trying to be funny.
Yeah,
And maybe now that he's realized it, and like good on him for stepping up to the plate and apologizing for something like that, right? Because it could have
yeah,
easily just not said anything to you and just gone on not making the jokes.
Yep.
but at least he acknowledged it, and like
Yep.
good on that for acknowledging it and apologizing for it. And I think that is like the real learning curve that people need to go through this experience.
Yeah. And maybe with everything going on, maybe other people will start to realize that it's not right. You know what I mean? Actually, quite a few people I see stepping up and changing their mind, and they didn't know. Uh, this is a little touchy subject too. So, guys, don't get me wrong. Say like white privilege, and this people are realizing that there is such thing, but we won't touch too much on that.
No, but like just to maybe like top what you just said off there, I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the last podcast, was that me being born a white person in Canada almost like gives you that advantage or that step ahead. And that is sort of like the white privilege that people talk about, right? Like that
Yeah.
is, yeah, we don't want to go too deep in it, but that is something that being born white in a free country like we are in is a totally different scenario than maybe being born Asian or being Asian and then immigrating to this company or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think people are starting to realize that like uh, white people don't face racism like the other races do, and how lucky we are or privileged we are that that doesn't happen like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's also something I think that white people just never realized. Like
Yeah.
it was interesting, like because I'm doing this biking and running and things like that. I'm like starting to listen to some triathlon podcasts and different podcasts like that. And one of the recent triathlon podcasts I had on, they had this black triathlete on, and he was talking about it. And he was talking about like like before he goes out for a run, all the things he has to think about before he actually goes out for his run, like planning a route to make sure he's not in a neighborhood where he might be like not seen by people, like making sure he's out in public. He's like, I always make sure I wear bright running gear so that people know I'm running and they might not think I'm stealing something or whatever. And these are all things that we just don't think about, right? Because like you've seen in the States many times, literally people are just out for a jog and then they get shot. And it's
Yeah.
like, for me, I wouldn't think twice if it was chilly out to throw on a hoodie and put my hood up and go for a jog like it was nothing. But for some other people, they can't just throw their shoes on and go for a run. They literally have to think out all these safety steps. And that's just like that privilege that you that goes unforeseen or that you might not think about as whatever race you might be as a white person, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I just want people to treat people better. You know what I mean? That's it.
100%. I just wish we all treated each other as human beings, no matter what the
And
color
help
of your
each other.
skin
Yeah.
or
I think
anything. Yeah,
yeah. I think at the end of the day is just trying to help each other, even though like if we can better everybody's lives, why wouldn't you why wouldn't we try? You know what I mean? And like we talked about off air too, is just because something's not happening to you doesn't mean you can't make a difference for everybody around you too, right? And I think that almost boils down to that.
yeah. I think doing your part when you can do your part
Yeah.
is all you can really do, and is great if you can do it. Like if you're in that scenario where a joke's being cracked and no one's saying anything, step up to the plate and do your part and acknowledging that that's not cool and you can't do that.
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean, I just wish we all could treat each other like human beings, no matter what your religion is, or whether you're gay or whether you're straight or whatever the color of skin is. Like we're all just people, and we all are just out here to live life to its fullest and
Yeah.
help each other live life to their fullest.
Yeah. We're here for such a short time. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it a horrible time and don't waste time hating on somebody else or whatever the case is. You're just wasting energy.
100%. Focus your energy on the good, not on the crappy stuff.
That's it.
And with that, you also mentioned that you wanted to chat about something else today.
Oh yeah, not waiting for opportunity, right? Especially with the time right now with COVID and everything. It's very easy to just wait on for something to happen, right? Or make an excuse to use COVID as an excuse to just lay back and do nothing, right? Obviously, we want to be safe and all that other stuff, but there's many ways to be better still and head towards your goals. And your goals might be a little bit different right now because of COVID, but doesn't mean you do nothing for your life, right? For your life or your family or whatever. So
Did like something happen to you, or like an experience happen to you where like this sort of just clicked for you, or is this just something you've been thinking about for the last little bit?
um I'm just like at first I talked about it on the our first Dadspective podcast. There is that I was kind of down that things were happening and I wasn't doing much, and that kind of made me think like, should I be doing nothing and be sad about things, or should I be going out and getting stuff done? You know what I mean. So I've been making plans and trying to head towards different goals. Obviously, I think every single goal I had this year has gone like a whole different direction. So I have different goals. I'm making up different goals now and just trying to plan out what to do next. So I'm not setting, I'm not setting, I'm not waiting. I'm trying to create stuff for myself and to better my family, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like on that subject for me is I was really looking forward to maybe doing like a couple 5K running races this summer, maybe some event with biking in it as well. And it would be very easy for me to be like, you know what, you don't need to train this summer because obviously there's going to be no races at all this year. There's no like mini triathlons at all this summer. There's nothing going on, right? So it'd be very easy to say like, you know what, you don't need to train anymore. Like next year when the events are announced, then you can start training. Or I can have the mindset that I can bike and run and swim and work out and do as much as I can this summer. So then next year, you're that much more prepared for like a certain training schedule leading up to an event, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
for
better
sure.
to do something than nothing.
And I feel like when you start prepping in all sorts of ways for that your event there, then you're gonna have a better chance. It's like I use this example all the time for people who want a better chance at opportunity is that if you hand out you finish school, if you hand out one resume and then you hope that you get that job and you wait and you wait and you wait, what's the chances of you getting that job? Really depends. Obviously, there's many different factors. But if you hand out like 100 to a bunch of places that you think you potentially could lead to where you want or head towards that direction, right? So it may not be exactly that job, but in that direction of that job, then you're going to be ahead, right? Or have a better chance of getting an opportunity towards that job, right? Than just handing out one resume and hoping for the best.
100%. I think it all comes down to like, what type of person are you? Are you the type of person that, well, when you set something out in your head, no excuse or no speed bump is going to stop you? You're going to figure it out and you're going to overcome it? Or are you the type of person that when one little thing goes wrong or one little thing comes up, you're just like, yep, you know what? That's good. I'm done. Like you take that as the excuse and you leave. Like whether it's you have a goal to lose weight and you're eating really, really healthy, and then it's like cottage weekend and you're like, you know what? Whatever. I'll eat the chips. I'll eat the hot dogs. I'll drink the beer. And then Monday comes and you're like, you stay in that slump and you keep going, right? Or you
Yeah.
can go to the cottage and you can be like, you know what? Maybe I'll have a couple chips and I'll have a couple beers, but 95% of the time, we're going to stay clean. This isn't going to be the excuse that's going to throw me off the rails. So I really think it comes down to what kind of mindset do you have? Do you have the nothing's going to stop me mindset? Or do you have the I'm looking for any excuse I can find to not do it mindset?
Yeah, for sure. I think part of it is you got to adapt and evolve for sure. to all these situations. I think COVID will really show what kind of person you are, like you said, because this thing has thrown everybody off everything they were accustomed to, right? So we'll see what the new norm is for everybody. See how they adapted their situation to better themselves after we're done with all this stuff, right? See if we are better people, maybe, you know, fitter. Who knows, right? So smarter, fitter, smarter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
see.
I think I think maybe we'll end the show there. That's a pretty solid, some solid talking points that we covered today. Um, if you guys are having trouble maybe with the mindset of letting excuses stop you, reach out. Hawk and I, we both tackle situations totally differently, but we tackle situations. So we can help give you guys pointers on how to not let that little excuse or little speed bump in the road stop you, and what we do when we get speed bumps, how we overcome them. So reach out to us, shoot us a message. We'd be happy to like chat with you and help you and guide you through things like that. If you have any topics that you guys want us to cover, let us know. We're open to chatting about anything and everything on here. And we hope you guys are all staying safe and staying active and enjoying this beautiful weather, because before you know it, that white stuff's going to be back and it's going to be chilly.
Yeah, it's July already. It's
I know.
crazy.
I know. Time's flying, man. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, we've really been in this situation now for 4 months, right? This happened right at the beginning of March.
Yeah.
So a fourth of the a fourth of the year is gone. No, a third of the year is gone. 4 months out of 12. So it's wild, man.
Let's be better when this is over.
That's the thing. Everyone just hope that you're building the skills to come out of this stronger, better, faster.
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Cheers.